I told you, it's draft month, and Gerald Huggins joins the show to break down three of the premier HBCU prospects going into the NFL draft. Oh, yeah, it's locked on HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked On HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darrion Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald Sports editor and current contributing writer at USA Today's Saints Wire. Thank you for going on this journey with me. Make it Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember, just because the mic cuts off doesn't mean that the journey is over. It just means it's time to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. Starts with an S and ends with an S. It's all about draft season. I had three questions and three players, three prospects to break down with our draft expert, Gerald Huggins. Kenny Gallup, did he live up to the hype? James Burgess, what is his defining trait? And we kick it off with Aaron Smith, who came back from missing the Shrine Bowl to dominate in his pro day. How much of a difference does it all make? I'm back with Gerald Huggins. It's been a long time since we've been able to grace Locked On HBCU together, but with it being draft month, buckle in because we are going to be on this ride for a minute. And we're going to start with three of our top prospects in the HBCU ranks: Aaron Smith, James Burgess, Kenny Gallup Jr. We'll kick it off with Smith, who was invited to the Shrine Bowl, which is fitting seeing that you're wearing the shirt today. In those rooms, when you're talking about who's going to get that invite, what did Aaron Smith get, or what did Aaron Smith do to earn that invite to the East West Shrine Bowl?
He was arguably one of the better FCS defenders over the past couple years. Actually, past few years, he has a height, weight, speed that you like to see on film. He looks the part. He comes from a pedigree, a program with pedigree. And that kind of, sometimes you just trust it. Sometimes, it's like, okay, you'll have about two all pros and you'll have this, that, and the third. So it's like, okay, we kind of trust the system that has already been set in place when it comes to, hey, is this school able to develop talent? And they have shown they'll be able to, develop talent. And in a linebacker class that is not necessarily deep, he kind of boded well in the fact that he was one of the top linebackers in the FCS. So it kind of just like, okay, linebacker class not too deep. You're one of the better ones that we have in the FCS level, and you played against, pretty good amount of Power 4 opponents as well. So, give him a shot. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to practice during the week to be able to, showcase some of his skills against, higher competition once again. But end of the day, he's a guy that scouts like. Well, they've liked for a couple years, and Shrine Bowl liked him. Our director liked him, and they gave him the invite. And I just want to apologize. The fire marshal came, and I have that. It's a stereotype thing, and I just don't like to fit that stereotype. But it will get fixed.
For the record, I laughed. I felt bad because you didn't address it the first time it happened, right? You didn't address it. So I ended up laughing. You over here talking about, South Carolina State can develop talent. I'm just kikiing. They probably think I'm laughing at their ability. I'm not. I swear I was laughing about the beat because we talked about. Look, okay. Anyway, let's push through. It's gonna happen a couple times. Over under 7. Anyway,
it's gonna happen.
When it comes to Smith and not performing in that Shrine Bowl, what impact do you think that had on his stock? And do you think he was able to counteract it with a really good pro day that he had about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, about 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a little more than that. But for the most part, man, it depends on who you talk to. Some people believe the linebackers is not really much they could do in the all-star circuit to really boost up their profile. And some believe that, we want to see you kind of counteract with some guys from the power 4 level, G5 level to see, those are kind of the guys, from a height, weight, speed, from off the line standpoint that you're going to go against. Now, for me, Aaron Smith, the things he does really well, I know he would have done very well at the Shrine Bowl. The things that he, doesn't necessarily do as well, I would love for him to showcase that at the Shrine Bowl, but he wasn't able to do it. So that's why, the ranking how I had him was like, okay, it's just a lot of unanswered questions. I haven't seen you. The last time I saw you play was in Atlanta versus Jackson State, and obviously that wasn't, his best performance. But he has way more tape than just the Jackson State game. So for him, he's more like okay, upside. Like, hey, are you a true inside linebacker at 6 foot, about 230 pounds? But he has the strength because he showed the bench. He has the strength. He has some quickness, game quickness. So I don't want so if you want me to go off the RAS and stuff like that, you may be like, but when you look at the film, it's like, okay, this guy is quick. So RAS wise, his speed grade was okay. They gave him a 4.69 with a 2.78 20-yard split, 1.63 10-yard split. Not terrible. That's why they gave it okay. Now they gave him some poor with the height, with the size, composite size stuff, but 6 foot 234. It's a nice size. I mean, that means you're compactly built, so you could be more of a run hit guy. But ideally, there's one knock on him is the fact that he does have some issues taking on bigger offensive, well, not just bigger offensive linemen for the most part. That's just one knock. Just the physicality, being able to withstand those confrontations with offensive linemen consistently in close quarters and be able to get off blocks. So that's one thing I would say. It could have helped him if he would have shown that in the East West Shrine Bowl, but then again, could have really, it's kind of a toss-up. So you got to really just trust that a team will put him in a situation where it's like, all right, Aaron, we know you may struggle with this, which you can get better at. But if you want to get on the field, special teams, obviously, when he gets reps of playing on defense, he's in a defense where it's like, okay, I have big guys in front of me that can clog up all the length, clog up all the gaps. I could just be a run hit guy, run around, which he's good at doing. He has explosiveness with his broad as a 10-3, good broad jump, and he has a vertical with 35 inches. So the explosiveness is there. The short area quickness is there. It might not show on his composite agility grade from RAS, but on film, he's able to maneuver in tight spaces. He's able to redirect. So, hey, I'm a film guy more than a number, a t-shirt and shorts guy. I'm always going to lean on that. I don't really let combine numbers or pro day numbers affect my grade to an extent. But what I am noticing, the guys with those higher RAS scores, those higher, those athletes from our level, those are the guys that kind of last for the most part. So it is what it is. You got to be big, strong, and fast to play in the NFL. So
yeah, especially coming from the FCS, they looking for athletic prototypes only at this point. It feels like. But speaking of Smith and athletic prototypes, where does his game / body type and all of the things that go into the player he is, what do you think the best fit for Smith is in the league?
He's got to be a will linebacker. I'm giving him like a 4.3 base with a 4.25 sub package. He has to be in a situation where big guys are around him and he could just flow freely. Like he just move around. Like imagine, not saying he is this player, for geez, goodness, I already know it's coming. But say, you could be like a Roquan. Roquan he's able to move around and flow freely for the most part. Now, when he does have to have when he does have engagements with offensive linemen, he is strong enough, he's compact to be able to, and explosive enough to be able to withstand that and still get off and make plays. But for the most part, do you see what's in front of him in Baltimore? He has some of the biggest defensive linemen in the NFL in front of him, and that gives him the ability to run around free. So
Michael Pierce has to be the biggest defensive lineman in the league, bro.
And
has to be.
And it's not even a weight thing. He's just wide. Like they're wide. Like they're 2 gaps wide. So he's like, I had a teammate in high school we used to call A Gap. That was his nickname. He was our center. He played at like 6'3", 380 pounds. He was our center. We used to run quarterback sneak with him all the time on like 3rd and 10, and we used to get it. It was crazy. Doesn't make any sense. So when I think of like, when you have guys like that, big pluggers in front of you, Aaron Smith is going to thrive. But if you're asking Aaron Smith to be in the system where he has to get off blocks consistently at this moment, now he could always grow and get better, get bigger, faster, stronger. Bigger, yes, he could. Faster, he actually may be. So he actually could get bigger, faster, stronger in the NFL with a solid nutrition plan, whatever they have for him, strength and conditioning, and he may be able to be able to do that. But right now, if he is to play early, which I don't suspect happening right now, he has to be in a situation where he could play free. We put him in space, let him play free, let him run and make tackles. That's his game.
And if you're looking at the idea of him getting drafted, scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the odds are? 10 being the best, 1 being the lowest of hearing his name called.
Yeah, it's hard. I can't. I'll probably say 1. 1 off the strength of just. I'll give him a 2-3 off the fact that it's not a deep linebacker class, but you also know that the linebacker position is not valued as much until you really need one, which is crazy. But hey, a good inside linebacker changes your life. If you
Ask the
don't have
Eagles,
one,
Zach Bond.
like listen, and when you have a good one, it changes your defense. So the best defenses that ever played in NFL had, for the most part, they had a really good, really dominant inside linebacker. Now there might be some outliers here and there, but for the most part, when people name certain defenses, you're naming either the D tackle, the DN, or one of them linebackers. And of course, you will have your free safety, strong safety corner as well. But for the most part, when you hear a great defense, it's the box. So
You finna make me start thinking with the change of the league. I know the defensive end and the cornerback are the most premier positions. I'm trying to think who is typically the face of a good defense.
Well, I'm a
San
Panther.
Francisco, Warner, of course.
Ravens, Roquan Smith.
Roquan, of course. Is Roquan? Yeah. I was just wondering because that's one of them defenses that has good players. Because like you could say Kyle Hamilton is a really strong player. I don't know if I would consider him the face. I would still say it's Roquan, even with the talent that's on that team. I think that's who I would go with.
Kyle might. It's hard because Kyle is like he's the most polarizing because he's just so big. He plays every position, so he might be the most. God, he's definitely the most versatile. You could argue the most impactful, but that defense is.
Do the Eagles have a face of their defense? I kind of feel like if they did, it would be Jalen Carter, but I don't know if they have a face of the defense. Like I think they're just a great unit.
They are a great unit, but Jalen is he sets the tone. So
he does.
Yeah.
You would say he's the face? This is probably not a conversation right now. Let's move to James Burgess. We're going to talk about this after because I do think it's an interesting premise because the Eagles are one of those teams where they have a great unit. They have great position or great players at each level of the defense. And I think Jalen Carter would be the face, but I don't know if people define. Anyway, let's move on to James Burgess. We going on tangents. Let's keep it here. Let's talk about James Burgess as we continue with Locked On HBCU. This is a message from our sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were going to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more, but not anymore. Taxes is now matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return, while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day easy and smooth. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, and no worries. Now, this is taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service, real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. As we continue rolling on today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day. Every day for your second listen, make sure you're checking out Locked On NFL Draft. It is draft month, so that is the podcast you need to listen to on a daily basis. I have my draft expert here with me, Gerald J. Huggins II. I like that you added the initial, man. I'm rocking with that. I wanted to go by Darrion A. Gray, but I think we know I can't do that. But anyway, Burgess. When I think about James Burgess, the cornerback out of Alabama State, one of the first things that I think about is length. I just think about how long that he is at the position. When you think about Burgess, what's your first thought?
Physicality. He's very physical press corner. He's big, like you said. I'm a little shocked that that he has the height. It's the arm length that's a little concerning. Like he has like it says he has 30 and a half on the arm.
It doesn't look like it. He looks like he.
Yeah, that's why it's very. It didn't compute with me either. I couldn't believe it. So that's a knock. Scouts teams, I'm learning that they care about that kind of stuff. Like, okay,
Yeah.
well, but he still is 6'2". So
Do they have a
6'2".
number? Do they have a number of like a an arm length that they like out of cornerbacks? I know for
Well,
tackles it's around 34.
yeah, but my thing is that if you're tall, they're expecting long arms. So like you're 6'2", pushing 6'3", anything under 32 and up is probably ideal for someone that's around 6'1", 6'2". But if obviously if you're like I know the Will Campbell conversation, like he's like 6'5" with 30. Oh my God. Like for me, 32 and 7/8 and 33 on the head, to me, doesn't really doesn't matter that
Yeah.
much, but I know to some it matters a ton. So for a cornerback that has height but lacks the arm length, not as concerned as if you're a shorter cornerback with no arm length. Now, if you're a
Mm,
shorter cornerback at 5'11", 5'10", but you have 33-inch arms, you can stay your butt outside. But if
mhm.
you're a 5'10" cornerback with 30-inch arms, 29-inch arms, then you are going to be right in that nickel spot. So it depends.
So you talk about him. Where do you think that he would be like on that
I think
spectrum?
so. I'm just going like I just want to preface this by saying I'm basing this strictly off RES. I don't know if this is official or not, but RES has all the scores up and officially now through Pro Day or HBCU Combat, whatever they utilize it. And I know, I'm just prefacing by saying this is I don't know if it's official, but this is what I'm just reading off of. It says he has, based on this, with a 40-yard dash of like a high 4.6, high 4.6, or in that 4.6 range, probably with a 4.4 shuttle with a 7.3 3 cone and a 31 vert in the broad. And like I said, I'm not a big tape guy. I'm not a big underwear Olympics guy. I'm more of a tape guy. But with those numbers, there are people who may not think like I do. So they're going to be like, yeah, this guy can't play outside corner because he's mainly he's press man corner. So if you're a
Right.
press man corner that lacks recovery speed and long linear speed, that's going to be a problem in the NFL because for the most part, most of your starting receivers are really fast, and you don't really want to put your guy in those positions. Even if you keep Burgess in a situation where he's a cover 2, cover 3 quarters kind of guy. You still don't want to leave him susceptible to having to run with these 4.3s, 4.4s, 4.5s, even too consistent. So for me, he is a physical guy. He needs to work on, shedding some blocks. That could be due to maybe some of that due to just arm length, maybe, but I think he should be able to shed some blocks. He's physical. He could play in the box. So maybe throw him around there, like some strong safety or something like that. Maybe bring him down as a big nickel, sub package thing. But he has coverage ability. It's just
Mhm.
the athleticism stuff is just going to be a huge knock on him. Granted, like I like his film a lot. I have him as a PFA right now. I know the numbers are probably not going to help him in the long run. So I'm basing the majority of my stuff off film. I don't have like a number on top of my head at what the percentage is of how much I do film compared to the numbers for the combine numbers, pro day numbers. But his film says I can move him in the box, have him play some safety, and then maybe we can minimize certain things that will affect him if he's on the outside more consistently.
Okay. And those numbers, those numbers happen in those 40 and all the testing numbers happening at the Alabama Pro Day versus the HBCU Combine. Is there any difference? Because I do know that we've talked about the value of doing it at the Combine, right? Like there's a value to it. But he also went to Alabama, and I would assume that Alabama probably had 30 to 32 teams there. So does it really make a difference where you do those numbers or where you do your testing? In his case, I think that's not for everybody, right? Like if
Right.
your choice is to go from the HBCU Combine or even Alabama State Pro Day, it's going to be a different number. But he did it at Alabama, so I wanted to ask you if there was a difference.
Um, for me, no, because I'm a believer in if you're strong, you bench. If you
Mhm,
can jump, you jump. And if you fast, you run.
mhm,
That's just me. So I'm still learning how the thought pattern, the thought process behind people not doing it at certain times, and how all these players all of a sudden have these nagging injuries that they've got while training. So I'm like, okay, you're getting injured while training. What are you going to do for me when you start getting hit by 30-year-old men? For like, in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, you're injured while training how to run. Okay, cool. So by all means, run when you feel comfortable. But just know, potentially the longer you wait, the less opportunity you have to do more. So I mean, running at Alabama, running at the HBCU combine, hey man, you run, you run. End of the day, whatever you put on paper is what you put on paper. You got to just trust your film. Trust that your film is good enough to either supersede if you have bad numbers or confirm what we already know. So for a lot of guys, like my top 3 guys, their numbers just pretty much confirm what I pretty much already have on tape for them. Like their tape matches their numbers, very much so. So
I'm excited for that top 3. I'm
yeah,
excited for that top 3. I don't know if we're gonna do it all in one episode. Probably not. I probably space them out. I think they deserve to be headliners, all 3.
yeah. I mean, my top 3. I mean, for the people who've been following this for the most part, it's like it ain't. Everybody know what my number 1 is. I'm not changing that. Everybody knows.
Okay, I was gonna ask you if he was gonna be 1.
Honestly, my top 3 is gonna stay the same. The only ones that may change is 4 through 10.
3's changing.
Oh yeah, I think I might have had. Oh yeah,
I don't know if you want to reveal any names. Like I don't. Okay, but I know 3 wasn't 3.
Yeah, 3. My top 3 are
Actually 3 was Prunty, right?
Yeah, that was from the beginning of the year. Yeah, it's been a while. So my post. I had a post HBCU combine, and NFL combine like top 10, and I had my top 10 is my top 3 were Carson Vincent, Elijah Williams, and Rob McDaniel. That's probably not going to change.
Okay. We're gonna.
It's probably not going to change. I don't have any reason to change it. Those guys tested exactly how I thought they would based on their film. The film puts them in the room, and they went to their respective all-star games or whatever and did what they had to do to get their name highlighted. And then their pro days just solidified a lot. So yeah, those are my 3. And now 4 through 10 will change.
Yeah. You know what though? The idea, I'm gonna stop you there, because the idea of living to the hype is exactly what I want to ask you about when it comes to Kenny Gallup, because I think that's actually a big question around Gallup, is whether or not he lived up to the hype. So let's look at that as we continue with Locked On HBCU. As we're wrapping up today's episode of Locked On HBCU, I appreciate you for making this your first listen of the day every day, making it all the way to segment 3, and I thank you 2 times for that. Thank you. Thank you. This is a simple question that honestly probably has a lot of layers to it, but Kenny Gallup, I think that he is a bit of a forgotten prospect as far as discussions go, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that his team did not live up to the expectations that people had set for them. But did Gallup?
Kenny Gallup did everything I expected him to do again this year. I mean, I'm higher on him than most. I've been scouting Kenny since 2021, 2022-ish. So I've been scouting him for a very long time. I've seen the progression. Last year's tape, 23 tape was, really, really good. And, sometimes, it's hard. It's hard at times trying to maintain that. Not making an excuse for him, but I mean, hey, like, it's what it is. Like, he was really a solid player that showed versatility. He could play in the nickel. He could play one high. He played some strong safety as well. He was fitting to run better this year. When it comes to his one-on-ones with tight ends, like, he does a really good job of staying with tight ends, considering that he may not be the fastest guy. So for the most part, I just think his intelligence is what really gets him where he needs to go. Like, I like his ability to read things and react to run route combinations and stuff like that before other people can see it. So those are things that are going to get him and put him in position to be fine. Now, the things that he had to work on, he kind of worked on. He, like I said, leaving your feet a little too early when you're trying to stop the run and trying to make a tackle, like little things like that he did a better job. But he became a way better run defender, in my opinion, this film compared to last year's film. So, I mean, right here, I have his strengths are smart, instinctive safety with positional versatility, good coverage ability and off-man coverage in certain zone schemes. He shows physicality against the run. He got the quick trigger downhill. Special teams, he could be a real high special teams contributor on the next level. And he has proven production at the FCS level. Now, his weaknesses, missed tackles due to inconsistent technique and poor angles at times, struggles to shed blockers in the box consistently, and occasionally gets caught out of position and deep coverage. No, that could just be a speed thing. It's not like he's not trying to get there. I just think his speed won't allow him to get there at times. So his best fit I have right here is a backup safety in the zone heavy defensive scheme, nickel sub package contributor, and a special team standout on kick and punt units. I think that'll be a really solid spot for him. His RES score is not terrible actually. So I mean, considering where people weren't really too sure of like what he's going to run and stuff like that, he came in at 5'11" for the most part, 212 pounds. So he's a big kid, 14 on the bench, 4.62 40-yard dash, which is, hey, for me, people were thinking he wasn't going to run anything near that. So if he would, and it's crazy, if he would have ran a 4.58, they're like, oh my God, but he ran a 4.62. It's like, it doesn't make sense, right? Yeah, never. But he had a 1.48 10-yard split. So that shows to that trigger I was talking about. That's 90th percentile 10 yards. That's actually like, that's really good. That's a really good. So he got out. He gets out the gate. So that bodes well for, hey, you want to play some nickel? Cool. I think Kenny long-term will be a nickel strong safety. The explosive grade is, they call it, they say it's poor on the RAS, but he had a 33 vert and a 9 broad. So that's why the numbers can be a little confusing. That's why I trust the tape, because your 10-yard splits are 1.48, but your explosive numbers are a little low. What is it? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, and his agility is fine. Like his shuttle was a 4.25, the 3 cones a little slow, but for Kenny, box safety, rotate down to the nickel. He's already has the size. He's already 212 pounds, and he ran that at 212 pounds. So I think, okay, he could get down to 210, 205, maybe be a little faster, but that may take away from his ability to play in the box. Who knows? So Kenny, I will say for me, Kenny's numbers on his pro day helped like me, because even I was like, he can't be that bad of an athlete. You know what I mean? In my head, I'm like, there's no way. Like, I've seen him play against a Rutgers, play against a USF, play against Western, play against these bigger schools, and he didn't look lost. So it's like, there's no way he's not at least average to slightly above average athlete at the strong safety / nickel position.
What makes that difference? What makes the difference between thinking somebody's going to be a strong versus being a nickel? Or is it just really that interchangeable?
I mean, for me, at this point, it's interchangeable. You know what I mean? It's like certain coverages, you're going to end up being a one high at times, and then you're not a natural one high safety, but that's why they like versatility. So like for Kenny, he's literally done everything but play defensive line and play cornerback. I mean, he can play sub-package backer at 5'11", 212 pounds. He can play the nickel because, well, as you can see, the long speed is not there, but the quick twitch and explosiveness to get the linear explosiveness is there. The shuttle, that shows the 4.25 shuttle at 212 pounds at safety, shows that he can cover the shallow, short areas of hook curl. He could be a robber or something like that in the cover 3 scheme. So a strong safety that rolls down and plays off man, he's done that. A strong safety that comes down in certain packages and plays nickel because he's a bigger guy, could play against could go against tight ends, could go against offensive linemen. He's done that before. And if he so happens to put him at free, which I don't think they're going to do, if he plays free safety, then they say, okay, now we're in zero, we're in cover 1, or whatever it may be, whatever the rotation of the scheme may be, he'll have to play off man on a slot. And he's done that before too. So Kenny's going to get opportunity to get into camp. I don't see, if they draft him, I'll be extremely happy. It would shock me a bit just based off, you just don't know anymore. I just rather bank on the fact that this kid's going to get into camp. He's going to be on every special teams. He's going to find a way to make a roster or be around. But he has to be in a specific scheme that allows him to be Kenny. And if you put him in that situation, he'll be fine.
Okay. Now, I don't know who the next trio that we'll be looking at, but we'll probably do this a couple of times. Just be ready, guys. Just be ready. It's draft season, and things are fluid. Don't know how exactly it's going to turn out, but eventually we'll get to the top 10, and we'll break that down, and we'll do these little player breakdowns as we get to the draft. We're not going to be talking about guys who we probably won't be talking about any guys who weren't PFAs. If they're not PFA or higher, we probably won't mention them.
Yeah.
And
With
so,
all due respect, of course. It's just
yeah, with all due respect, it's just April 9th. Like it's April 9th, and it wouldn't make sense at this juncture to do that. So, but anyway, be prepared. We're gonna be talking about guys like McDaniel. We can talk about guys like Williams, like Vincent. So make sure you stay in tuned, and also other players as well. We're not just gonna focus on that trio. But in the meantime, in between time, until the next time that you see us, family, take care, stay blessed. Peace.